Vote on our last union contract. I think that the contract, we were ill-advised to sign it at the time we signed it. I think that we signed it in a period of time when we knew that a large recession was heading our way. We put in a lot of costs in there that have driven our budget up very heavily, and it simply didn't match the situation in the private sector. I've always been an advocate of the public sector and the private sector kind of having the same deal. Everything should sort of match up between those two entities, and when you start to see a problem on one side, you need to recognize that and make the appropriate adjustments on the other side. And we looked at what happened over the last couple of years with the budgets, and that was one of the prime drivers in there. We had, I believe, a couple of 4.5% raises year over year when the economy was extraordinarily stagnant. People were losing jobs, people were experiencing foreclosures on their houses. At the best, people's incomes were remaining stagnant. And I feel that the timing on that was more the issue than anything else. We talked a lot about when the recession hit and when we knew about it, and I think that we didn't look outside our own door well enough when that happened, and that had some serious ramifications, and it's up again this year. This is kind of a year when we do actually have an opportunity to look again and to look back and say, what did we do that was right, what did we do that was wrong, and kind of make up for some of that. And it's going to take strong leadership on the council's part to engage in a real, honest, straightforward negotiation where both parties can actually work something out that's for the common good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. DeOld?
Excuse me, I hate to just piggyback off of what Alex said, but that has been, to me, one of the biggest errors that was made. It was the fact that we got into it, we were in a contract, and then the contract was extended with the continuation of the benefits, so they just multiplied over the years. And this just cannot go on. I even stood up at one of the council meetings. It happened when the teachers in town, who are not municipal employees, but that when the teachers in town were told that they had to contribute a portion of their salary towards their health benefits. And I stood up and I said, we are hurting in this town. Our taxes are going up. Can we ask our employees if they would consider doing this before the contracts ran out? Mr. Martin just said absolutely not. He would not even try to reopen negotiations. But therein lies the problem. They had a great contract. Now I'll tell you where I think we can go to resolve this, and that is as we move forward and go into negotiations, which of course are always held in private. My view would be that if we are going to move forward, we can extend the current contract at the same rates that we're at. You have to stay flat. We cannot keep increasing. And I know they're going to be allowed to raise the salaries. They think they can go up to 2% by the state mandate. That's not acceptable here, not after the kinds of increases that they've had in the last 4 years. The second thing would be is if they decided that they wished to go for a raise, then you have to tell them, if you're going for a raise, we're going to have to reduce staff. I would not recommend that, but I think we could be very fair, but I don't think we can afford increases in the salaries in the next year to 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Schwartz?
Yes, I think the one vote that I would take back, or not my vote, was the vote for the budget when I was mayor, when I was going out of office. We had just been dealt with this horrible economy, this crash in the market. We had also just gone through a town-wide revaluation of property. There were people that saw their property taxes doubled. We had asked the town manager to come back to the council with a budget with 0 tax increase. And that was held back. And then we got information maybe a few days, maybe a week before the final budget vote. And I had assurances from some of my council members that they would not accept a budget, not accept something that at least we weren't able to discuss it. We weren't given the options. We weren't given the scenarios of what if it was 0, what would we have to cut, what programs would go, what we would have to do. We were never given that information. And even though we were not given that information, the council voted yes on the budget. I, at that point, could not, in good conscience, vote for a budget that I was not able to deliberate on. So I regret that vote, and I think that was very important. Luckily, there was enough active people in town, really concerned people, very vocal people, that made it so from then on, the budget was at least flat, the tax levy was at least flat for the next 2 years. Hopefully, on the new budget, we'll get those options, the council will get those options so they can see what they can cut or how they can get to zero or below. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williamson?
This is the ultimate Monday morning quarterback question. I don't think it's fair sometimes to go back and say, well, I would have done this and I would have done that. Because there's always factors that render somebody's decision. Whether it's non-information, whether it's the wrong information, the right information. Council members vote their heart with the information they're given. So maybe the vote, for that budget was not the right thing. Obviously, there was enough council members thought it was. Mayor Schwartz didn't. She voted her conscience on that. We've got to make sure all the people involved have the right information. And I think we're getting better towards that, and I agree. Information sharing has got to increase. And once that does, maybe we won't have to sit back all the time and double guess everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan?
Thank you. I guess when you get to go last, I guess you get to sort of weed out what other people have said and try not to be too repetitive. But I do want to pick up a point that Alex made. And basically, when I ran 2 years ago, one of the things that I ran on was the fact that I was shocked that the municipal contracts were extended with 3.2 and 3.0 rates right prior to when the state-mandated cap was going to take into effect. There should have been enough information out there that the council should have been aware of it. They should have also been aware of the fact that the employees were going to start to pay health insurance benefits. As a result of extending these contracts out, it basically gave the 4-year period where the town employees under contract did not have to pay anything towards their health insurance costs at the same time that the teachers were paying. So I'd have to say that was a serious deficiency. People can call it second guessing. I just say it was a lack of awareness of what the overall economic situation was at that time. There should have been more of an awareness that we were in the midst of the greatest recession since the Depression. So to think that, that raises, we should just extend the contract by resolution. There was no attempt to open the contracts even to see if there were articles in the contract, work rule changes that maybe we could have put in there to cut costs. Work rule changes that would not trigger overtime, for example. And I'm hoping going forward, as Mr. Roman just said, that these contracts get examined and that a real negotiation it takes place between the bargaining unit people and the town. They will have to start paying health insurance next year regardless, 1.5%. I just want to give you an idea. 1.5% of your salary is a drop in the bucket. Anybody out there who pays health premiums know that. A $100,000 employee, that means they're going to pay $1,500 a year in health insurance. That's not enough. We really have to negotiate a better system. Thank you.